Good morning. Welcome to Day 2 of the 2021 Virtual Federal Student Aid Training Conference. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's sessions, and we look forward to another productive day. As a reminder, if you missed a session yesterday, recordings are available at your convenience in the on-demand section of the conference platform. Now, I'm pleased to introduce today's keynote speaker, the 12th U.S. Secretary of Education, the Honorable Miguel Cardona. Secretary Cardona has demonstrated an inspiring commitment to the value of education as a student, educator, administrator, and now as the Secretary of Education. He attended public school in his hometown of Meriden, Connecticut, graduating from Wilcox Technical High School. He received his bachelor's degree in education from Central Connecticut State University and then completed his master's degree in bilingual and bicultural education and his doctorate in education at the University of Connecticut. At UConn, he was also an instructor for the Administrative Preparation Program and an Executive Leadership Program. For 2 decades, he served his home community of Meriden. Starting as a 4th grade teacher in the public schools, he soon became the youngest principal in Connecticut at the age of 27. His leadership and student-centered approach led to his school receiving outstanding programming accolades for 3 to 5-year-old students, bilingual students, and students with sensory exceptionalities. In 2012, he won the National Distinguished Principal Award for the state of Connecticut and the Outstanding Administrator Award from the University of Connecticut's NEAG School of Education, his alma mater. After 10 years as a principal, he transitioned to the district level, where he became the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning. In 2019, Secretary Cardona was appointed to serve as the Commissioner of the Connecticut State Department of Education. In that role, and in the face of the COVID-19 emergency, he leveraged the power of partnerships to lead safe school reopening efforts while balancing local autonomy with oversight and guidance. He set out to emphasize collaboration between the State Education Department, other state agencies, local school boards, educator unions, and advocates. By navigating these constituencies, he was able to deliver results on behalf of Connecticut's students and families, even in the face of the pandemic. He bolstered student access to remote learning technology and collaborated with the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence and others to provide social emotional health resources for students, families, and educators. Under Secretary Cardona's leadership, Connecticut achieved its highest ever extended graduation rates for English learner students and students with disabilities, established a requirement for high schools to provide courses on Black and Latino studies, which was the first of its kind in the country, and implemented a variety of protocols to promote systemic improvement across the state. He also oversaw the launch of Connecticut's FSA data dashboard, which provides real-time FSA completion data for districts and schools to promote college or career school preparedness, a topic that's very near and dear to us at Federal Student Aid. Secretary Cardona is an active member of his community, and he and his wife Marissa are the proud parents of 2 children. I understand he's also quite the musician and singer, though perhaps we will save a performance for another time. Since I became the Chief Operating Officer of FSA, I've seen the energy and care that Secretary Cardona brings to his work. He is a coalition builder and a doer. He has a mantra of sorts, to do the work and see what follows. He's made clear that we at FSA have his full support as we undertake our important work, including updating the FAFSA form, returning borrowers to repayment of their student loans as smoothly as possible, and stressing performance and accountability from schools and student loan servicers. We are grateful for his strong support and his inspiring leadership. Secretary Cardona, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
It's now time for our keynote address. Please welcome U.S. Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona.
Good morning. I'm honored to share some thoughts with you today. First, thank you for all your vital work in extraordinary times. You're on the front lines helping students profoundly affected by the pandemic while navigating its challenges yourself. With heart and creativity, you've adapted to the needs of your campus communities. You've ensured that students enrolled at your institutions have been supported through federal student aid programs as well as through emergency grant aid. The Biden-Harris administration understands your crucial role in helping America's students reach and achieve their college dreams. We're proud to be your partners in working to build a more equitable and higher performing post-secondary education system. President Biden is committed to supporting institutions of higher education, and we're doubling down on our commitment. Here are 3 significant challenges the President and I are prioritizing. First, ensuring an equitable recovery for students and colleges. Second, pushing for historic investments that will make college more affordable. And third, helping colleges fully commit to equity. More must be done to recover from the damage caused by COVID-19. Students are struggling with mental health challenges, housing and food insecurity, and academic gaps. The federal government has provided billions in American Rescue Plan funds to help students and their schools through this difficult time. We're making new investments in community colleges, historically black colleges and universities, tribally controlled colleges and universities, other minority-serving institutions like Hispanic-serving institutions, and other inclusive institutions that provide equitable opportunities for graduation, careers, and upward mobility. We're working to connect post-secondary students with other services to help them complete their education, like notifying Pell Grant recipients of potential eligibility for nutrition assistance or broadband subsidies. Because many students are also struggling financially, this administration is focusing on college affordability, so anyone with dreams and determination can gain valuable skills and credentials. I'm proud the President's Build Back Better agenda includes large increases to the Pell Grant program. We're also excited to extend Pell to more students like our dreamers. These benefits will dramatically increase equitable access to higher education. It'll create a path to success for students of color and those from low-income families, and enable many more students to attain the post-secondary credentials needed to enter high-demand careers. Of course, states must also do their part by investing in their institutions. We also know the cost of college can increase over time for students who borrow to pay for their education. For too long, the answer to rising college costs has been larger loans. It's unacceptable that student loans could leave students and families worse off than if they had never gone to college. Student loans can also be a major contributor to post-college inequities, including exacerbating the racial wealth gap. This cannot continue. We're working to ensure that students and student loan borrowers can depend on the Department of Education for support in repaying their loans and receiving quality servicing. That's why we've taken decisive action to increase oversight of the student loan program, and to date have canceled over $12.5 billion of debt for nearly 640,000 borrowers across the country. As part of these actions, we recently announced improvements to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So this program lives up to its promise. We put over 500,000 public service workers an average of nearly 2 years closer to loan forgiveness. We've also delivered loan discharges to borrowers who were victims of fraud, became disabled, or were otherwise eligible for loan relief. And to emphasize our commitment to oversight, accountability, and enforcement, we're rebooting our Federal Student Aid Office of Enforcement. We're proud of these first steps to ensure borrowers have access to protections, and we're just getting started. To truly address disparities in the student loan program, we all must unapologetically commit to equity. Transforming higher education requires uplifting diversity, equity, and inclusion across all facets of our educational system. Education can be the great equalizer if we prioritize, replicate, and invest in what works for students. This means identifying and addressing underlying systemic barriers that lead to policies and practice that drive inequitable outcomes. One way you as institutional and financial aid leaders can do this is by focusing on students' basic needs. Institutions are using their own funds and HERF funds from the American Rescue Plan and other relief bills to provide mental health supports for students. They've also used these funds to eliminate healthcare fees and started libraries of free and open textbooks to lower the cost of college. Several of your institutions, especially those that have the most economically and socially diverse student bodies, have discharged unpaid institutional balances so students can re-enroll or complete their degrees. To emerge from the pandemic even stronger, institutional leaders must embrace long-term change. That means greater investments in evidence-based wraparound services that help students succeed at higher rates. And it means evaluating long-standing institutional policies that block retention and completion for our most underserved students, such as enrollment and transcript holds for students with unpaid balances. Similarly, we know implementing the FSA Simplification Act will require major changes to the processes and systems used to award financial aid. But we also know that the benefits will far outweigh the efforts, including increased access to educational opportunity resulting from expansion of the federal Pell Grant and streamlining of an application process that has, in some cases, proved to be a barrier for students and families in underserved communities. We can only build back better by creating a more equitable education system, and financial aid administrators like you are critical to this mission. This is our moment to ensure that all students can fulfill their great potential and thrive. Let's shape an educational environment that enables success for everyone. Together, we got this.